Hi there. Welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. This is our weekly show where we give you 3 or 4 interesting tech topics, something cool in science, and get you on your way in about 20 minutes. I am Bob. I am not Autumn. Thank you, Autumn, very much for doing the show the last 2 weeks while I was gone off on my adventures. It was a great time, and she did a great job filling in for me. This week, though, I have Isiah from Maine Library. Remember, all summer long, we're featuring our teen volunteers and summer worker peoples. Isiah, tell us all about what's going on here at Maine Library for you.
All right, so I'm Isiah. I'm here on a summer internship. Been here for about 4 weeks. 4 weeks, I think, give or take. Yeah, I like it. It's a nice environment.
What kind of stuff are you doing?
I'm kind of just helping people with stuff. Like I take inventory of books. I help weed books. I attend programs, help out with different programs around the library. I do different stuff. Yeah.
All those little things going on in the background that somebody who walks in off the street doesn't understand. So
right. I didn't even think about it till I started doing it.
Yeah, we got to have a body to go do these things. We need people. Come and volunteer. So thank you very much for being here today on doing our show. And our first story is a crazy one. Snow in July in Philadelphia. Could you believe this one, Isiah? I was blown away by this. Isn't that just craziness?
It is. I remember one time I was up in South Carolina, and I think it was like the middle of winter, and I wasn't getting any snow, and I was disappointed. And Philadelphia is getting snow in July. That's insane.
Now, to be clear for everybody out there, what happened is the heat in Philadelphia was so intense, it created snow. Let me explain. 100-degree temperatures, it creates these huge thunderstorms that bring all this heat goes up, and it goes shooting up into the atmosphere, freezes, and comes back down. Normally, in a regular thunderstorm and normal weather, it would melt on the way back down. It would come back down as rain, especially in the summer. It was so intense that it actually fell as hail in Philadelphia in the middle of the day, which hail is frozen precipitation, which counts as snow. So it didn't accumulate anything. I mean, it's just trace amounts as they refer to it, but it's the first time since 1870 that it's happened in the middle of summer in Philadelphia like that. Wow. I just thought it was a cool story.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I didn't know like that's a thing that could happen.
Yeah. And climate change is real, folks, and these are some of the things that happen. These small events like this all build up. Isiah, have you been hacked?
Have I been hacked? I don't believe so. Actually, I have a suspicion about one time, but
tell me.
I have no way to confirm it. I remember I don't know if you can consider this hacked or not, but I remember I was playing on my PlayStation one time, and I was doing an online game, and I was talking to this guy in the party, and we were like getting upset at each other, and he said he was gonna boot me offline, which is basically like tap into your internet and shut it off.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he actually did it because my internet stopped working for like an hour after that.
I wonder about that. I wonder. That would be a hard thing to do. It's not hard. It's a minorly hard thing to do by a denial of service attack. Sounds like what you had going on. And so this here, and as always, folks, the links are in our show notes. You definitely want these today. As we're scrolling down here, this is a way to tell, has your account been compromised? Have you been out there and doing? And if you're asking, Bob, why is this out there now? I want to point out that if you have a phone number, you probably had your information stolen. Now, your personal information may or may not have been stolen. This is the AT&T hack. Technically, it is Snowflake that got hacked, which Snowflake is a company that handles records for AT&T, but it's AT&T's fault. And what they stole was anyone who has an AT&T phone number who called another phone number. So Isaiah, are you on AT&T?
I'm not on AT&T. I used to be. Switched
But
off fairly recently, actually.
Well, who's your who's your provider for phone?
T-Mobile.
So you got your phone number's hacked and is out there. And here's why. Because we've called you from the library.
Right.
The library uses AT&T.
Oh, so it's anyone with AT&T
anyone who called from an AT&T number. The information was there. So if you have a friend on your iPhone in Arizona and they called you or texted you or whatever on there, that connection is in the AT&T database. And so that's what was stolen. Now, your personalized custom information was not stolen that we know of. But information like who you called, when you called, all those sorts of things are all there. Even if the phone numbers are stripped of actual people's names, you could then, if you could get a hold of this data, you could then take that phone number and then go match it up with other hacks to go find out who this person is and stuff like that.
Right.
So coming back to our thing of how do you know you're hacked? Go check it out. So there's links in this article for you, Gmail, all of your Facebook Meta account stuff, all of your various things, Outlook, Microsoft, even Yahoo email and everything in here so that you can go follow these links. It'll take you directly to your account settings and you can verify. And what we'll do is look at this one right. I'm not logging in on my own settings here, folks. Sorry. But you can see here for Gmail. Here's all of the lists of places that this one person had been logged into on their email. All those different mobile phones. Now, if you know I was in New York City at that time, then you know this was you. But if all of a sudden in here pops up a thing for Berlin or random country in the world, city, then you know somebody there was hacked and was using your credentials.
Right.
It's a big, scary world, I know.
Yeah.
It stinks. And unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do about this stuff. But how do you use two-factor authentication on your accounts, Isaiah?
I wouldn't say all of them. Like when it pops up, like as an option, like do you want to enable 2FA? Most of the time I click yes and like activate it, but I don't like make it a priority or anything to do it every time.
Well, maybe you need to go back and double check.
Yeah.
But so when we're talking about this 2FA, two-factor authentication means when you attempt to log into an account, they will contact you to verify you really wanted to log into the account. I do that with all of my accounts. It annoys my wife horribly because she like tries to log into the Amazon account and she has to text me to get the phone number because the code came to my phone and not her phone. So, and those sorts of things. And there's authenticator apps to use and there's secure passwords and all that kind of stuff. But definitely be taking these into account because we all have to take care of our own security because obviously, as you see by the AT&T one, even somebody who's supposed to be taking care of all this stuff will get hacked. And you want to be able to at least protect yourself that way. Does that make you feel any better, Isaiah?
Yeah, because but sometimes
that wasn't so positive. Tell me.
I mean, well, it makes me feel better because I mean, you're definitely like an extra step protected when you do activate it, and I'm pretty sure I have all my important accounts that I like actually care about have 2FA.
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
and like you said, it's the important accounts. You worry about. It's the other accounts. You have to also kind of think like, wait a minute. If I don't care about my Facebook account, but other people care about the Facebook account, and they get hacked, and my Facebook gets hacked, and it infects somebody else's Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of like be careful with everything. Take care of it. especially, some of them are phone based. So if it's only phone based, that's even harder. You have to protect your SIM and things like that. So yeah, it's a mess. Okay, something happier, something fun. How'd you do in physics class there, Isaiah?
Physics class, I've not taken. I'm about to take it this year, though.
Well, let's go with the idea that you are smarter than a cat.
Okay.
Because cats know how to do physics and all sorts of things. So this is a fun article that Ars Technica put out this week. I think they just knew the country needed something a little bit lighter and interesting. So that's a fun little article about how do animals understand physics. And of course, they're not sitting there doing math and saying this. But as an example, cats understand how to twist their bodies in midair to land on their feet. If you drop a cat from a certain distance, it will land on its feet all the time because they understand aerodynamics, how they have to twist their spine the right way to do things. Some of it is instinct and some of it is learned behavior. The one that I actually, the cat thing everybody kind of knows about, the one that I really thought was fun was the bird nests. So down here in here, you get to go in and see that. Let's go find in. I want to make sure I've got this highlighted right here. Assembly. There we go. So birds' nests work best if they're made of flexible sticks.
Okay.
Which is why most birds don't use dead sticks, dead branches and stuff like that for their nests.
Right.
They take stuff up. We'll see out there, if you see birds, they're stripping leaves off of, or they're breaking off small things off small twigs and that, because they need it to be flexible. Now, they don't understand necessarily that flexing is a better physics friction coefficient than standard straight rod like things. When they're building a nest, they're trying to build that curved shape. And as everything's interlocking with each other, it makes it easier to build and stay together. And then as it dries out, that's when it becomes rigid and locks out like that. So it's fun. It's a nice, easy article to read, not too complicated about it, but go take a peek at it. And maybe in physics class, you'll be able to show off a little bit and surprise your teacher with, hey, wait, I know how that worked. Wait, these birds did that. That's why that thing. They're using the coefficient of friction to fix their nests.
Yeah, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
I would assume that would have to be more like learned than like learned behavior than instinct. But yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, isn't it? I mean, and you make a great point there, because if you just say, well, it's an animal, it's instinct. Things change all the time. Animals have to adapt and be able to figure it out. And instinct is just something that's inherited. So like instinct is that thing's moving. I'm a wolf. That means it's food. It's not these sticks here are the right ones to use. You have to learn that by watching, participating, and being part of a community, as limited as that community may be, when you're a bird. Right. But it builds up. I'm going to come back to that thought here at the end for our cool library topic, by the way.
Okay.
Finally, what do you think is the second worst disaster that could possibly hit the United States?
Second worst?
Yeah. This one right here.
Oh, earthquake. Okay.
This one, the earthquake. Now, here's the trick. So for everybody out there, if you're not watching on the YouTube, if you're not watching on the video, don't worry. The links are there for you to go and see some of these cool images from here. The New Madrid Fault. And by the way, it is Madrid, not Madrid. The people in the Midwest will appreciate that for me. In 1811, the New Madrid Fault erupted. A seismic, a 7 on the Richter scale for a seismic event. And it was big enough to ring church bells in South Carolina almost 1,000 miles away. It's that big. It just ruptured and flattened a huge chunk of the Midwest.
Wait,
Well,
can you
tell
can
me.
hear me?
Yeah, now I can
You
hear
can
you.
hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, my headphones cut out for a second.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you.
So you got that. So 7 point on the Richter scale, which is bigger than the
Yeah.
things that wiped out San Francisco and things like that. So huge
7
earthquake
is huge. Yeah.
in the middle of the country, not on a fault line. California has a slip fault system where as the two plates are moving against each other and sliding against each other, that they build up the tension and they break. And that's what an earthquake is. This thing is sitting in the middle of the United States. Here's the map of potential things that could go wrong for earthquakes in the United States. And you see that big, huge red blob right there over St. Louis.
Yeah.
Unexpected by everybody. And this is like they're figuring out more data. This is the reason why the story came out is at the end of 2023, the U.S. Geological Committee, USGAC, put out all these new maps, all this new data on what they found from 1811 and what the potentials are now and everything like that for people to go out and look and be prepared for these things. So you'll notice like in Tennessee, there's a small area where you could get an earthquake in Tennessee or in South Carolina. Places you may not have expected, like, oh, wait, I have to watch and plan for an earthquake at some point. The New Madrid earthquake. Did you know anything about this before this article, Isiah?
No.
Yeah,
I
know. Nobody does. It's craziness, isn't it? So New Madrid erupted and it flattened so much area back in the 1811s. It took 3 years for all the aftershocks to finish. Can you imagine living in a tent outside because you're afraid your house might fall on you in the middle of the night for 3 years because you've got aftershocks from this massive earthquake that has just ruptured your community?
Is that like record size? That's
almost
crazy.
Yeah.
That's
It's
crazy.
second, not most. The most is Yellowstone, by the way, folks. We've covered that in previous episodes. Yeah, New Madrid is crazy. Luckily, on the one hand, it happens every 500 years or so.
Okay.
So 1811. So we are only 100 years plus into that cycle. So probably we're not going to see it in our lifetime.
Right. So is there a chance or?
There's a chance. That's what they're talking about. And that's what this score is right here. That right there, that super high level right there, it's the highest in other than the coast, the West Coast of California, Oregon, Washington. It is the highest chance of having a major earthquake at any moment, period. It could just happen. So the lesson here is be prepared.
Right.
And plan for what you want to do and understand what your history has said about your area and stuff like that, because so many people freaked out about this happening. And all this various things that they go on. It's a nice, good, long article to talk about. It goes on and on and on and on and on. Just hundreds of comments about people who are like freaking out about, wait, I did not know. And wait, how many buildings could wipe out? Because there's no earthquake code for Missouri. They don't even have building codes in Missouri for us, for the state. So,
right.
It's a crazy thing.
Very crazy.
I wanted to ask you one last question there, Isiah. Have you made it up to the 6th floor to see the human origins?
Yeah, I've seen it.
So this is what I meant when we were talking about the birds and learning and stuff. If you have not been here, folks, if you're in South Florida, you need to come to Main Library and see this exhibit. It is only here for another 2 weeks. It's leaving August 1st. So you need to come down here in July to come see it. It takes up half of our floor here at Main Library. It's an amazing exhibit. Tools, skulls, a whole long list of things to talk about. What does it actually mean to be human? It's not just a pure scientific, here's the fossils that we have. There's some good philosophical pieces to it too, about what makes us human. Why do we want to do the things we do? How did we learn some of the things we learned? How did humans learn them? And then how did we later on learn what they learned back then? So isn't it? Did you get a chance to really walk through the exhibit, Isiah?
I haven't got a chance to like fully explore it, but I've taken glances at it, and it looks like pretty unique. I like it.
Yeah, I like the footprint one. There's a mat with the original fossilized footprints, which are the oldest footprints we have of a human ancestor walking in Africa. It's a really cool, it's a really cool thing to see. Thank you so much for being here, Isiah, and hanging out with me.
No problem.
We will get another teen on next week, everybody. And as always, we'll tell you if Dreamliner ever does come back down from the space station. Sometime in August, we're expecting it to come back. I didn't forget about it, folks. If there's a story you'd like us to cover, creationstation@broward.org. We'll see you next week, everybody.